All right, welcome to another segment of Bing TV. We're going to an extent, vent a little bit, I think, here in this segment. We are by nature, I think, as recruiters, as salespeople, as people who live and die on the business that we do for ourselves and on nothing else.
An angry bunch of people.
We are a very aggressive, angry group, but also a very opportunistic group, and we tend to generally always look for the silver lining in everything. And I think, I know I can say for a fact, and I know based on some of the things I've heard you say in the last couple of days, we're getting just generally very, 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 very sick and tired of all of the negativity around us and just this constant like, oh my God, the world is falling. I really feel like it's Chicken Little right now, right? Like the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And to an extent, like we're really just tired of hearing it. So we're going to spend a little time talking about perk up, put a smile on your face, how to reposition yourself whenever life's not going the best for you. Reposition yourself for a new great opportunity. You know, right now there are a lot of people in the job market. Some of you are fighting that. How do you go out and be aggressive and get your dream job at a time whenever it may not be as easy as it was 6 months to get that dream job?
Agreed.
What do you guys think are some of the things that, like, first and foremost, somebody needs to be doing to reposition themselves as compared to where they were positioning themselves 6 months ago?
What's that famous quote? Ask not what your country could do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think it has to be that exact sort of a mentality applied to your job search. A lot of people that I talk to still think in terms of how can this company benefit me? How can this company help my career grow? How can this company provide me with the skills? And nobody wants to hear that. Yeah, of course, people get something out of working for companies, but right now companies want to know. We're interviewing a lot of people right now. A lot of people come in and they talk about how working here for Bing will help accelerate their career growth and it'll help give them the skills to progress. That's great, and that's phenomenal. I'm very thankful for the fact that we provide skills. But what I want to know is why someone wants to come work for our company. I want to know why they're passionate about what we do. I want to find out. I want to know that they've done their homework on our company, and then that's what I advise my candidates to do when they're out interviewing. Figure out why you want to work for this company, and figure out why the company should hire you. Make a legitimate business case for it, and that should be your mantra number one throughout the entire process.
Even in like September of last year, you know, I mean, even once the economy had to an extent started turning south and things started looking very bleak, even as like a recruiter, I was still telling my candidates to very much position themselves of you can go in and like hardcore interview the client just as much as they can interview you. Really now, today, you need to go into an interview pretty much having done your homework in advance, having a great idea of what in general the company can do for you already, and be prepared to ask some questions, but really you need to go in with a salesman mentality and your product is you. And very much positioning yourself from, as I always say, don't put I wrote 10,000 lines of code for, company X, right? That my 10,000 lines of code was, the most written, I was the most productive, the least bugged code, and it also ended up, my creativity with this project brought us in X number of $1 million in revenue or X number of $1,000 in revenue. Really taking that, what did I do for my last company and how does that translate directly into, number of consumer, number of eyeballs for your company? Does it translate into a number of dollars for your company? Does it translate into public visibility for your company? Bare minimum, or bottom line more or less, is what can I do for you?
Yeah,
and can I just go and even a step back before you even go in for the interview process? Lower your goddamn standard. I mean, if there's so many people vying for so little positions, then you can't be that picky. I mean, I know people that are unemployed and they're like, no, I still want a position doing X in a company with X amount of people, with X amount of outlook, like, no. You know what I mean? When there's that many people fighting for that many positions, you go in there and you don't only look at, those 5 companies and then sit there and stare at them, until one of them has an opening.
I disagree with you to an extent. I think that at the end of the day, the worst thing you can ever do is take a job that sets you back. And I think so to an extent, you still have to continue to be very, very picky. And I think you do need to interview a company, but a lot of that needs to be done kind of behind the scenes, needs to be done with research, and you really need to go into your interviews and sell yourself. I still 110% think people need to be picky as hell about the companies they join, because we've seen it time and time again, you can make a bad step in your career and it can really screw you up. You can recover easily, but you can also really get screwed up by that. And I think it's really important to, provided you, your family, your life is in a place where you can afford to pass on a job and wait another couple of months to do that. And some people aren't there, and I understand that, but to an extent, if you're in that position, still today, better to walk away from a bad opportunity than to take it just because you need a paycheck.
Completely agree. If you're a hiring manager and you're looking at a resume and one candidate has a slot of like 8 months where they're unemployed, and then another has a slot where 8 months they're at a company that isn't that great, which candidate are you going to be more likely to interview?
If candidate with 8 months of with an 8-month break has a good reason on why he hasn't taken a role in that period of time, I have no problem with that.
They might never get to that interview though.
They might not.
A gap in break. It wasn't a big deal over the last couple of years because companies were desperate for people. They needed people, so they were able to excuse that type of stuff in a tight market where companies have 40 resumes to look at for the 3 they're going to interview. They're going to be picky, man. They're going to say, oh, this person had a little bit of an extra gap. They'll also say things like this person chose a bad company to work for, whatever reason.
To an extent, it's
They're
like a catch-22, right?
Yeah, they're absolutely looking to screen out.
Don't join a company that's not the right fit for you. Still continue to be picky, but you got to interview hard, sell yourself, and I think at the end of the day, that's the big shift. Is you went from being able to interview the company hardcore and really grill them, and them being almost in a competitive situation for you, to you just have to realize the reality of the situation is that you are now the one that needs to be competitive. You're the one that needs to go in swinging more than ever. So do so. Go out there, fight for it. And
just really quick, I was going to say that this kind of goes back to the whole mindset of we're spoiled in this country.
I was going to go on that. There are way too many entitled people out there right now.
There are that think that they have a right to do this or to get this position and this is what they're entitled to. I mean, no bullshit, going back to the Great Depression where people were just lining up regardless of what skill set they had just to get any kind of work. I mean, that's the mindset you got to have. You got to fight for whatever you can to earn that bread. So,
fight for the good jobs, though.
I agree. Yeah,
that's bare minimum. Is fight for what's worth fighting for. I guess that's my point. Is if you find something that's really special, go in there and dog on a bone. We use it around here all the time. Do not give up until you get what you want. But at the same time, I don't know. I still very much believe don't take roles that aren't right for you.
Fine. Okay. I'll agree with those 2 things. Just to take it one step even further, I think right now people going back to Great Depression mentality. We're not in the Great Depression right now, but to have that sort of mentality, I think will greatly set you apart from the crowd. I think right now people are doing things like submitting resumes. They're following up with HR. They're maybe asking a friend if the company's hiring, but I think that's about as aggressive as people are right now. I don't think they're still taking matters into their own hands and saying, I am going to do whatever it takes to get me this job or to get me a job within this market or whatever it is. One big thing I think, and I'd love to see people do this, is start doing the job before you're hired to do it. Kind of a crazy thought, but actually start, building Facebook applications if you want a job as a Facebook application developer. Start figuring out what Rocky builds is, their Facebook application. Build an app. If you think you're that good, send them a link to that app and show it off. Do some free work. Don't sit there with this entitled mentality and say, because I have a pretty resume, you should interview or you should hire me. Show them that you could do it. Don't tell them that you can do it. If I want to hire a recruiter, I'd love a recruiter that sat in the freaking hallway right there on this freaking phone and made cold calls until I hired him. Yeah. I think that'd be awesome. No one will do that.
And for sure we'd hire them too.
For sure we'd hire them. Yeah, a lot of people would sit around and cry about not being able to get a job, but they would never actually I don't want to say never, but it'd be hard pressed to find someone that would actually do the job. A lot of open source projects out there right now that you can be taking advantage of and working on and spending time on. I think employers want that. Employers would much rather hire someone who's proven an ability to do something, shown a passion and interest above and beyond that, entitled, heavy, pretty resume, I think.
110%. No, it definitely is a fighter's game out there right now, and people who are willing to really go in and swing into the ones that are going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I just quick example happened a couple days ago, but I had a candidate who unfortunately was passed on for a position, but offered to work a month free to show the employer that he's qualified for the
I was actually going to bring that up.
I don't know how great of an idea that was, but I mean, the guy's got.
I think even beyond offering to work for free, I think he should actually just start doing it. Why
just
why
show
not?
up for work
No, not even show up for work. Just, he's learned enough about the company through the interview process. He knows what it takes to be, X, Y, Z at the company. Just start doing it. Just start coming up with ideas. Start sending emails back and forth. Get a conversation going. Get the manager believing that, hey, maybe this guy does know what he's doing. Maybe we should give this guy a shot. Maybe we should engage him in further conversation. Just start doing it. If he's good. If he sucks, it'll blow up all over the place. But if he's good,
it's a phenomenal idea, right? Which is, of course, the catch-22 of do it before you do it. You actually have to be good at it.
Yeah.
But if you believe in yourself and you are that good, then that's what's going to get you in the door. Those are going to be the difference makers.
100%.
So, did we get it all this time?
I think we got it.
Everybody good?
We're good.
See you next time.